Good morning. We're
Good
back live
morning.
in our Davos studio. Good morning. We're excited to kick off the series of today's interviews with Tinne van der Straeten, the Federal Minister of Energy in Belgium, joining us live from Brussels. Minister van der Straeten is part of the new Belgian government, formed just 3 months ago as a result of the new parliamentary coalition in Belgium. The government that has already announced decarbonization as one of its main priorities. Minister van der Straeten, welcome to Davos Energy Week.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
We know that you are part of the new government whose #1 priority is achieving emission reduction goals. It is probably great to work in the government which puts your ministry's agenda as #1 priority for the whole cabinet.
Yes, it's absolutely a real honor to serve in this cabinet and also in this domain, which is a domain of my expertise, but most of all, my heart and my passion lies with energy and the energy transition.
Great. Minister, I'm passing this floor to you now to make your presentation, and we'll be back afterwards to ask you a few questions. Please, the floor is yours.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, allow me to express how honored I feel to be invited to speak at this digital edition of the Davos Energy Week. These are exceptional times, with the global pandemic and unprecedented health crisis is sweeping through Europe. We all know people affected by the virus. Some of us maybe have been ill ourselves. We all know people who have suffered the loss of friends or family, also ourselves. The virus comes with a huge economic and social impact, and it affects the lives of thousands of Europeans. The European Union was founded after the Second World War as a project of peaceful cooperation. Can I have the next slide, please? Today, once again, Europe is showing why it is indispensable. European solidarity and cooperation literally saves lives. At the same time, it guarantees our future. A coordinated European approach made it possible that vaccines are purchased and distributed among all European member states, no matter their economic strength or their purchasing power. Not only in times of distress, but also in times of prosperity, European collaboration is a necessity. European collaboration brings hope. Next slide. I live in Brussels, and many times I can see the atomium. I can even see it from my office where I am right now. The atomium, which you see on the picture, depicts the structure of an iron crystal magnified 165 billion times. It was built for the World Exhibition in 1958, and it symbolizes the reconstruction of Belgium after the Second World War. The Second World War was a terrible experience, but in 1945 people had hope and they believed in a better future. The policy choices of the years thereafter were the basis of our society today. We then built infrastructure such as harbors, airports, highways, electricity and gas networks. This public spending is the bedrock on which we have built a prosperous society, and we continue to reap the benefits today. In 1958, a crucial decision was made, the creation of the European Coal and Steel Community. This cooperation was considered as nothing less than a real peace treaty. Coal and steel were the drivers of a war machine, but weapons could also be forged into plows. The founding fathers of the European Union were very well aware of this. Energy has always been the catalyst of a modern society. It was the case in 1951, and it is the case today. In 1951 with coal and steel, and in 2020 with the Green Deal. Every step in societal evolution until today is accompanied by changes in energy commodities, from kindling fire to peat and coal, over oil, gas, and nuclear after the Second World War. Energy is the lifeline of our society, lifeline of our economy, and the driver of our industries. In this era, we are living a paradigm shift from a fossil-driven energy to a technology-driven one, clean and affordable. We all know that the Stone Age didn't end because of lack of stones. The Stone Age ended because there were new and better technologies available. And this is also the case today. The big difference with the past is that the battlefield is now in front of us, even more dangerous and even more global, and it is climate change. Next slide. 2020 was the warmest year on record. Can I have the next slide? Was the warmest year on record in Belgium and within Europe. Wildfires, floodings, locust plagues are just a few of the indicators that we face today, the consequences of dangerous climate change. We are getting too close to the tipping point where no return is possible. With COVID-19, we have become familiar with the notion of flattening the curve and to act to make sure that as few people as possible become ill so that we can safeguard our health system. Flattening the curve has taught us an important lesson. The longer we wait to take a decision, the more drastic and painful the measures will be if we want to avert a catastrophe. And the same goes for climate change. We can no longer avoid it. It is happening, but we can still flatten the curve and mitigate its consequences. Belgium was once one of the co-founders of the European coal and steel community. And I'm very proud that at this time, once more, we are taking up our responsibility and that we are endorsing, as Belgium, the ambitions for the future. Once more, energy will be the centerpiece. Climate targets for 2030 and 2050 can only be reached if the energy transition becomes a reality. Now is the time for action. People are aware, there is sustenance in the broader society. People are ready and supporting the transition. There is scientific consensus, and I know there is determination in the industry and readiness among entrepreneurs to tackle the challenges ahead. Engineers are eager to tread new paths. What they are longing for is not a talk about targets, but a framework in which they can work. And we as policymakers, myself included, we need to wholeheartedly set the beacons, we need to set the course and hold steady. Next slide. The vaccine for our economy after COVID-19 is a green recovery. No matter how we toss or turn it, there is no escape. We need to invest seriously the coming years. It is crucial that we make the right decisions. Post-COVID revitalization of the economy needs to be sustainable and robust. Therefore, we need to avoid extra costs related to half-hearted choices because of the issues of the day. Our task is to get the framework ready, to lay the track, so that the economy can pick up immediately as the COVID pandemic is under control. Green investments are investments in comfort. One day soon, when we wake up in the morning, we will realize how silent the neighborhood is. Our office building will always have the right temperature, in summer or winter, because it uses satellites, weather data, which optimizes the energy system of the building. No more headaches, not in winter and not in summer. And that's why the energy transition will be the game changer. As energy has always been, our superpower will be that we invest in the future instead of subsidizing the past. So, what will we do? Next slide. First, we set a clear ambition and we are in it for the long run, beyond our own legislative term. Belgium, like Germany, is opting for a nuclear exit. Our 5 oldest nuclear reactors will be closed in any case, starting in 2022, then 2023, and then 2025. The other 2 are planned to close down if everything goes according to plan, also in 2025. The nuclear exit is not an end in itself, but a means to reach our goal, clearing the path for more renewables. And I know many argue that both of them go together, but only last April here in Belgium, Belgian wind turbines had to be shut off because nuclear reactors had a no-touch policy. And I know they say nuclear reactors are flexible, but only at the right moment in time. So you have to be lucky, but I don't want to be lucky, I want to be sure. And what we need is flexibility in winter and summer. And therefore, a strategic investment plan is needed to create clarity and reliability for investors. Investors are ready if the right conditions are created. I've seen this firsthand when I worked as an energy lawyer for the past 9 years. But also, I witnessed this firsthand as a consequence of a clear decision on a nuclear phase-out spin-out. A variety of projects are ready to be rolled out: demand management, batteries, flexible storage. Now it is the time and the opportunity to get it done. The relentless stop-and-go policies have come to an end, and all the projects brought to my attention overbid the necessary capacity. This will be the largest investment opportunity of the last 20 years. It will be the pathway for the upcoming 50 years of energy supply. We need to get it right. And I feel the eagerness of our companies. The competition is open, and a lot of them see an opportunity to be part of this exhilarating future. Next slide. Second, in Belgium, we are not afraid to pioneer, and we are proud of our expertise. Belgium is a pioneer in offshore wind. We are now the 4th country worldwide. I had the opportunity to go at sea and see for myself the assembly of the last 2 wind turbines. Dedicated teams worked very hard in difficult times. Dedicated teams worked very hard to finish the last offshore wind park. We have now an installed capacity of 2.2 gigawatts and an estimated annual production of 8 terawatt hours. This equals 10% of Belgian electricity demand for the consumption of 2.2 million households. And this is only the beginning. We will double our installed capacity, and we will be looking for additional capacity in our own part of the North Sea. The energy transition is not based on green electrons only. Green molecules will be part of the deal, and here is when hydrogen comes in. We have in Belgium a strong industrial base. We have life sciences, we have steel production, we have production of non-ferro metals. We are a global leader in the recycling of precious metals. These industries are crucial partners to make the transition work. They provide resources like steel or basic chemicals. They provide products like batteries, like isolation material. And we need millions of tons of them. Manufacturing industry is the backbone for a climate-neutral society. So we have to support them in their own transition. That's why we need hydrogen as feedstock for our industry and a lot of renewable electricity. Hydrogen is much talked about. My preoccupation is infrastructure. Remember what I began with, the years after the Second World War and how we invested in infrastructure then. We will do the same now. We will invest today in the infrastructure for 2030 and 2050. We create a hydrogen backbone in the heart of Europe, in the heart of our industrial clusters. And third, next slide. Third, we embrace our location in the center of Europe, with the North Sea as our enabling partner. Belgium is historically an importer of energy. With its dense population and energy-intensive industry, we rely on good connections with our neighbors. We have connections with France, the UK, the Netherlands, and Germany. We can be seen as a European energy hub. Only in November, we inaugurated the first electric interconnector between Belgium and Germany. This is what you see on the picture. It's Allegro. It gives access to renewable energy at the best price, and it makes possible to trade up to 1,000 megawatts. And this amounts to the consumption of a quarter of the Belgian households. Interconnectors increase the security of supply of both countries. It facilitates the energy transition by allowing better integration of renewable energies. It contributes to price convergence and strengthens the economic attractiveness. And so interconnectors are essential when it comes to decarbonizing society. They fully support the further integration of bulk renewables. Renewables that are breaking records every day, and the more available, the cheaper they get. We continue on this route. More specifically, the North Sea can be the largest renewable power plant of Europe. In 2010, Belgium was among the countries who founded the North Seas Energy Corporation. Its ambition was to create an offshore electricity grid. It started with an ambition, with a vision, maybe a dream. But today, several European countries are looking how to work together to interconnect and to realize the European ambition to increase the offshore wind capacity from its current level of 12 gigawatt to at least 60 by 2030 and to 300 gigawatt by 2050. And that's why we are now finalizing a memorandum of understanding between Belgium and Denmark. We are both determined to work together on offshore energy infrastructure so that renewable electricity can flow in both directions between our countries. A hybrid solution that will integrate a large Danish wind park. It strengthens energy security. It increases social and economic welfare, and it builds an affordable energy system. Belgium is a transit country. Our grid is used intensively to flow surpluses on one side to shortages between the neighboring countries. This also means that flexibility has an intrinsic value in Belgium. And that's why I said that we embrace our location. Last slide. As I have said in the beginning, we have done this before. After the Second World War, we did what we did then. And now the challenge is big, the change is immense. But at the same time, for a lot of citizens, it will pass unnoticed. Remember the first time you bought a smartphone? Maybe because it had a GPS. And then you noticed you could order a pizza with it. Today, maybe you use it to get alerted when you were in contact with a confirmed COVID-19 patient. Without noticing, you became digital savvy. The same will happen in the years to come. The engine of the energy transition will be the expertise of thousands of people working together. They will be guided by clear ambitions, steady targets, set by policymakers. I know we have work to do, but in our domain, in energy, we work every day to realize a carbon-neutral society, a sustainable and a prosperous society. I'm aware that every energy decision taken locally has a global impact. Every decision taken today is shaping our future. I do not consider this as an issue among others, but a cornerstone of our common future. It always looks impossible until it's done. And this is one of the quotes of Nelson Mandela. We went to the moon because we believed we could. Human imagination and creativity has no limits. I mean, if you can dream it, you can do it. And we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister, for your presentation. What I like the most about it is that the fact that you brought historical perspective into conversation, and you are the first speaker out of the whole conference to do that right now. And I agree with you that sometimes to build a better future, we need to analyze the lessons of the past. So thank you again for that. Now, let's start with our questions. Your government backed the European Commission's proposed goal for a higher 2030 greenhouse gas emission reduction target of at least 55%. So what are your key priorities and key projects for 2021 that will make these long-term goals achievable?
As I've said in my presentation, we need to act now to lay the basis for 2030 and 2050. And what we are doing now, and more specifically what I will be doing this year, is lay the fundamentals for a robust energy system. And that means that I keep my focus on accelerating our offshore wind capacity. We have now in our North Sea, in the territorial sea for Belgium, we have now one zone that is completely finished and a second zone that will be developed. But at the same time, we are looking very actively to create more interconnections with our neighboring countries. And so that's why I'm so honored and also happy to speak with my Danish colleague, Dan Jurgensen, who are now debating in Parliament about their own offshore wind capacities and how that we can interconnect this together. And the second one, most priority for me, is that we are working on our strategic replacement capacity plan, which is under the form of a CRM, a capacity remunerated mechanism, but which will be the pathway for a large investment in our energy system, so that our energy system will be future-proofed by 2030 and 2050.
Great. You also reconfirmed the goal of gradual nuclear phase out by 2025. Is the preparation for shutting down the nuclear reactors on track, and what is expected to be done in 2021?
We are on track at this time. So what is expected in 2021 is that we have our plan for replacement capacity ready, which is, as I've said, the CRM. And we are now working very hard with our TSO, but also with the regulator, to have all technical details in place. This is an ambitious timeline, but we can get it done, and I'm encouraged by echoes that I hear from the market. There are a lot of projects on the table right now, and that are coming on the table because we have set with this government a clear ambition and a clear pathway, and I sense a real appetite in the market. And so we, with the team and I as a minister, we have to keep focus so that we will be ready by summer, that everything is in place, that we can have the first auction of our capacity by October, and then we can go further after that. I'm confident at this time. It's a large investment, but it's an investment in security of energy. And it's also an investment in a sustainable and in a prosperous society.
In your presentation, you said about the priorities in offshore wind generation and wind generation in general. So how are you going to support new wind projects by government funding and incentives?
I'm very proud to act as a minister here in Belgium, because we are the fourth country worldwide, and we have a lot of Belgian expertise that's also exported worldwide. So it's very important that we keep the framework steady, and that we lay out this path about our ambition. Our ambition is that we want to double the capacity in the North Sea. I will act in a very transparent way. I do believe that we as policymakers, we have to create a clear and a secure framework. If our framework is clear, then the entrepreneurs and business can work within that frame. And I've experienced firsthand only last week and this week when I spoke with those businesses who are investing in offshore wind, that what they can do is beyond imagination. And so what's so important for us is that we keep focus on the ambitions we set, and these ambitions are first of all set at the European level. It's the -55 and carbon neutral by 2050, and then translated in Belgian targets. And our offshore target is clear, and we want to double our capacity in the years to come. And we will then look for little additional capacity in the North Sea, but also increased interconnection capacities. What we can do with regard to offshore wind, not only in Belgium, but also in our neighboring countries, is huge and is immense. And so it's very important that at a public level, we make sure that our infrastructure is ready to receive all these renewables, and that we can integrate them in the grid. And this is a huge challenge for our TSO. They will confront it with a lot of flexible electricity, with a lot of intermittency. But you know, there are a lot of engineers, and they always tell me the more complex it gets, the better it's going to work. So I'm very proud that I can work with one of the most innovative TSOs in Europe, who has also a lot of collaborations with other TSOs, and I think that we can rely on our technical support provided by our TSOs to make this transition work. And for policymakers, I think it's very important that we keep on track, but that we also tell what we are going to, that we tell a positive story. Energy is a domain of chances, is a domain of opportunities. We make everything work, and that we need to tell this positive story, and technical solutions will be provided by businesses, by TSOs, and by other people. And so we all work together to achieve this energy transition as soon as possible by 2030 and 2050.
Yeah, thank you very much. Let's continue our discussion on private investments that you just briefly mentioned. So how are you going to stimulate private investments or any form of private-public partnership projects, if any, are in your plans in the energy transition?
Yes, absolutely. We cannot achieve it only with public spending. We have to create a big alliance, but also a strategic partnership between public and private spending. And we are now working at our level and also in my cabinet to finalize a recovery plan for the recovery and resilience facility that was constructed at the European level. And co-investment will be a cornerstone of this green recovery. As I've said, the green recovery will be the vaccine of our economic crisis. And by partnering public and private spending, we create an effect that is double or triple. And it is this triple effect that we have to look for. And by combining both our forces, public and private spending, we can build back better, and we can build a sustainable and a prosperous country.
Thank you for that. And my final question of today's interview for you. There are many solution providers and technology companies watching us right now, and obviously they are interested in business opportunity that your policies are going to create for the energy solution technology firms in the short term. Can you reveal any details of that?
I need their imagination. Our energy transition, as I've said, it will pass unnoticed, but it can only pass unnoticed if I have a lot of technology providers. And I need the combination of, on the one hand, big ideas, believers in the energy transition, and at the other hand, very smart people who can write algorithms and who can work out the most complex things. From my side, what I will do is I will have the framework ready. And for example, in our strategic investment plan, we made sure that all capacity that has less than 200 loading hours, and I know I'm a bit technical here, but I mean other capacity than gas-fired capacity, decentralized capacity like batteries, like storage solutions, they will have a dedicated place in our plan, a dedicated place. So that means that by setting this straight, that I hope that I will create a market, and I will trigger ideas from all of you that are listening here. We have in Belgium a lot of people a lot of citizens who invested as first movers in the energy transition. They bought PV, solar on their roof. Maybe they are driving an electric car, or they have a heat pump. And all these things can work together. But I know and I need little companies, smart people, great thinkers with big ambitions to make this work for these people. And all of you have such ideas will have an open door in my office.
Thank you very much, Minister. We look forward to seeing more big ideas implemented in the Belgium energy sector in the coming years. I want to thank you for your contribution, for your inspiring presentation and your elaborated answer to our questions. I wish you all the best in advancing energy transition in Belgium with the new cabinet and your team. Thank you very much.
Thank you.